Welcome to This Explainer. Today we are diving into a truly unprecedented moment in modern history. We're unpacking Pope Leo XIV's historic 2026 encyclical titled Magnifica Humanitas, which translates to Magnificent Humanity. Basically, we're going to examine how an ancient 2,000-year-old institution is stepping up to confront the absolute cutting edge of Silicon Valley. It is a fascinating collision of theology and technology, and honestly, it's a conversation we all need to be having right now.
So let's jump right in and look at the Pope's exact words. Right out of the gate, he targets what he calls the dangerous culture of power that's driving the rapid rise of AI. He warns that this technology absolutely must be subject to the most rigorous ethical constraints. I mean, he is not mincing words here at all. He's addressing head-on how AI is infiltrating everything, from the way we work to the way we wage war.
Now, you might be wondering, why is the Catholic Church taking on Silicon Valley? Why is the papacy directly challenging tech monopolies, algorithms, and AI developers? It's super easy to think of religion and tech as two entirely separate worlds, right? But the Vatican sees the digital revolution as fundamentally a question of human dignity. It's about us.
To help guide our understanding of this massive document, here's the agenda we'll follow today. 1. A papal warning on AI. 2. The illusion of AI. 3. Babel versus Jerusalem. 4. Principles for a digital age. And 5. Disarming artificial intelligence.
Let's start with Section 1, a papal warning on AI.
You see, the encyclical doesn't just critique the code itself. It critiques the entire mindset behind it. The core problem they identify is something called the technocratic paradigm. Think of this as a framework where efficiency, control, and profit are just automatically prioritized over human dignity. The Pope argues that when technology becomes the ultimate standard by which everything is judged, well, human beings are reduced to mere cogs in a system. People start getting evaluated purely by their output, and creation itself is treated like nothing more than an object to be exploited.
What's really wild is how this brilliantly illustrates the Church consistently updating its social doctrine during every major era of structural change. Notice this historical pattern we've got here. Back in 1891, Pope Leo XIII addressed the abuses of the Industrial Revolution. Then, in 1965, the Second Vatican Council addressed the modern post-war world. And now, in 2026, Pope Leo XIV is tackling the AI revolution. The Church clearly views AI not just as some cool new tool, but as a massive societal shift that demands a completely updated ethical framework.
But the Pope also takes a moment to recognize the Church's own historical failings when it comes to protecting human dignity. He actually used this encyclical to issue a historic, formal apology for the Church's past complicity in the transatlantic slave trade, calling it a wound in Christian memory. What is absolutely vital here is how he connects that deep historical trauma directly to the present. He issues this apology while simultaneously warning us against new forms of slavery popping up in the modern digital economy, places where opaque algorithms and mega monopolies silently strip workers of their basic rights. Which brings us to Section 2. The illusion of AI.
Okay, to strip away all the sci-fi hype surrounding AI, we have to look at a really fundamental contrast. It's the difference between statistical adaptation and actual empathetic human growth. The Pope makes it crystal clear. AI is not human intelligence, not even close. AI systems don't feel joy or pain, they don't have a physical body, and they definitely don't possess a moral conscience. Sure, they can simulate empathy perfectly, but they don't actually understand a bit of it. A machine adapts statistically based on data. A human grows morally through lived experience, hard choices, and frankly, making mistakes.
Moving right along to Section 3, Babel versus Jerusalem.
To really drive this home, the Pope uses two ancient biblical stories to frame the massive technological choices we're facing right now. On one hand, you have the Tower of Babel. This represents monopolistic uniformity, tech dominance, and sheer hubris. It's a project built without God, where relentless efficiency basically erases all human diversity. On the flip side, you have the story of rebuilding Jerusalem from the book of Nehemiah. This represents a completely different future, one of shared responsibility where the community actually works together, respecting different voices and local needs. So the big question is, are we building a monolithic tech empire or a collaborative, human-centered digital society?
Let's look at Section 4, Principles for a Digital Age.
To actually achieve that vision of Jerusalem, the encyclical gives us an ethical playbook, because we have to ask, how do we actually govern this crazy technology? The document lays out these 5 principles of Catholic social doctrine as a concrete framework for navigating the digital age, specifically to ensure we aren't leaving the most vulnerable people behind. We're talking about the common good, the universal destination of goods, subsidiarity, solidarity, and social justice. And listen, these aren't just abstract theological concepts meant for a textbook. The Vatican is demanding they be applied directly, right now, to tech development.
To put that into perspective, how do these ancient principles actually build a modern tech framework? Well, take the universal destination of goods. Traditionally, this meant the Earth's natural resources are meant for everyone to share. Now, the Pope argues this applies to things like data, patents, and algorithms. They shouldn't just be hoarded by a few mega-corporations in Silicon Valley. Or take subsidiarity. This means that local communities shouldn't just have tech forced upon them from the top down. They need a real, actual voice in how these tools are adopted and regulated in their own backyards.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Disarming Artificial Intelligence.
This is the Encyclical's ultimate call to action. Disarming artificial intelligence. It's such a powerful phrase. The Pope uses it to describe exactly how we need to rein in the destructive potential of this tech. Just to be completely clear, he's not calling for us to reject technology altogether. He explicitly says technology can be a massive good for the world. But disarming AI means freeing it from this intense mentality of armed competition, both military and commercial. He is demanding that we prevent AI from accelerating the normalization of war. Think autonomous weapons operating totally beyond human control. And he's issuing a huge warning against corporate monopolistic control where just a handful of tech giants dictate the rules of reality for the rest of humanity.
And if you're wondering if anyone in the tech world is actually listening, get a load of this. To highlight the real-world impact of this document, Pope Leo actually presented it at the Vatican alongside Christopher Olah. For those who don't know, he's the co-founder of Anthropic, one of the biggest AI firms in the US. It's an incredible image, right? A true Silicon Valley pioneer sitting right next to the Pope. And Olah actually echoed the Pope's warnings. He stated there is a real possibility that AI will displace human labor on a massive scale. He agreed that supporting these displaced workers is a moral imperative, and he urged that AI development simply cannot be left solely up to the tech companies. It desperately needs outside scrutiny from civil society and, yes, religion.
So I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought from the encyclical to chew on as the digital revolution continues to completely reshape our world. As AI integrates deeper and deeper into our daily lives, our economies, and our institutions, which path are we choosing? Are we blindly constructing a Tower of Babel built entirely on efficiency and power? Or will we step up, take shared responsibility, and rebuild a Jerusalem that actually protects human dignity? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and whatever you do, keep asking the big questions.